Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am Molly and I do book content here on YouTube. I do a mixture of Christian and a mixture of non-Christian books, and I might do the odd vlog, trying to do that a bit more often now, like once a month, so we'll see how that goes. Just like a monthly vlog of general things and what I'm reading mostly. Let's get into the video because I'm going to do a tag. It's been a while since I've done one, or at least it feels like a while to me. Even though it's not July, we are still in, the birthday year, a big birthday, and that is to do with Jane Austen. I think it's her 250th, I think. So there's a lot of Jane Austen stuff around, and it's still Jane Austen related, even though it's not July. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway. And this is a original tag based off of another original tag. So the original tag that this one is based on is the Jane Austen Heroes tag that Anne from In Search of Wonder created. I think she did it with Charlene from Coffee and the Book as well. I'm not sure, but certainly they were both involved because they're both doing like a Jane Austen year sort of thing with reading and the tags and stuff. And so this particular one is based on theirs, and this is also an original tag that was done by Kelley from Bookish Kelley and Hayley from Humbly Hayley. I don't know Hayley, but I do know Kelley. Just to let you all know. And this one is the Jane Austen Heroes tag. So in the original Heroines tag, it was questions based on the main female characters from Jane Austen's most famous books. This one is the same premise, but the heroes, so the male main characters of the love interests. So like Mr. Darcy, Mr. Knightley, all of those men. So it's a very similar premise. You just pick the book that you think best answers the question. And the question is, I think, based on the male love interest, the male characters. So now that I've given you the premise, I think we can all understand what's going on, can't we? I think. So let's get into it, because I have a few books, not too many, but I have a few. And then a couple that I will be putting on screen, because either I can't get to them or something. Let's start with question one. And question one is two male main characters from Pride and Prejudice. The first one is Mr. Darcy. And that question is a book you thought you wouldn't like but ended up loving. So I've technically got two. I do have both, but one of them I couldn't really get to without making a load of effort, and I didn't want to make that effort, so that one will be put on the screen, and I'll start with that one. That is the book My Husband by Maud Ventura. This is a translated work from French into English, and this is it's a short story. It's not long, it's like a novella sort of size, or a large novella sort of book, and from the premise you would think it wouldn't be interesting. It's certainly to me, because all it really is you're in this woman's head, who is a wife and mother, and you're in her head for a week, and you're hearing all of her thoughts, her worries and anxieties and all of that. And from the premise, that sounds boring, uninteresting, probably not what you would like. But there was something about it that was really gripping, and I just wanted to keep reading. I read it really quickly, and it is a short book, but even for me, it was really quick. I think I read it in like 2 days, technically. So yeah, I read it really quickly. It was really interesting. I wouldn't necessarily agree with everything that she did, or that her husband or whatever did, or their relationship. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it was really interesting. And it goes to show how don't need to talk about this. I just need to tell you that. So, yeah, it didn't, on paper, it didn't sound interesting, but it really was. So I would pick that one. But for physical book to hold, I am also going to pick a book I read recently, and that is Bunny by Mona Award. Now, this is an adult literary horror thriller fiction, kind of like a blend of genres, really. And I tapped it up like crazy. It was really interesting. I mean, when you read the blurb for it, you would think this might interest some people, but it might not interest you. And it's very much a commentary on quite a few different things like female friendships and like the dark side of it, the pretentiousness of high universities and all of that, and different courses that people would do, so like this one is an MFA for fiction, so there's a lot of satire and stuff like that to do with that environment, and there's a lot of mystery, I guess is the good way to put it, because the main character, and she's also the narrator, so you're seeing things from her point of view. Although, is it? Yeah, it is in first person. And so she's a bit of an unreliable narrator because of that, because things are happening that sound too unrealistic. They sound very fake, and they sound like there might be, things she's maybe seeing, or she's just got a active imagination or whatever. So there's a lot in it. And the topics, and also because of that as well, the fact that she's an unreliable narrator and you're not sure what's real and what isn't, that would put a lot of people off, understandably. Didn't put me off though. But yeah, it's another one where I wouldn't necessarily have picked this up, but it just sounds really interesting. Well, sounded, because I've read it. Really interesting, and it really was. It was a wild ride, and I wouldn't recommend this to everyone. Only probably certain people, but to the certain people who might like something like this, I would definitely recommend it for them. Just not for everyone. This question 2 is Mr. Bingley. He's also in Pride and Prejudice, and the question is a feel-good book you love, despite it not being very deep. And there's a lot of books I could use for that, especially in terms of like the rom-com genre and all of that. So I had a hard time picking one, because also, especially with contemporary, even though they are rom-com or romance, sometimes there is a bit of depth in them, so they wouldn't really count. So like either because of existential crises type of thing, or mental health stuff, or whatever, then so it does add that depth to them. So I did find it difficult, because I don't have a lot in that genre anyway. But I decided to go with a historical romance, and this is as far as I know, a clean author and clean books, and that is Georgia A. The book I picked was Friday's Child, but I think you could, of the books I've read anyway, you could probably pick any of them, because they're not very deep. Not that there isn't some depth, but they're probably the least amount. The nearest might be the fact that a lot of it is very forward thinking in terms of the relationships, marrying for love, stuff like that. But I wouldn't quite say they were depth or deep. They had depth or were deep, but they were a little bit. So I decided to pick Friday's Child, because I think this is my favourite out of the ones I've read so far, although I've enjoyed all of them. So yeah, I thought I'd pick that, but you could probably pick pretty much any of that sort of genre, to be honest. Okay, question 3, Sense and Sensibility, and the character we have is Mr. Ferrars, And the question is, a book you thought was one thing, but it turned out to be another. And I don't really think too hard about it, so I don't necessarily have a very good answer for this. But I did find one that does kind of count. And that is The Lighthouse Witches by C.J. Cook. This is, I don't know if it's adult or young adult or new adult, but it's one of those. But it's not graphic or anything like that. But obviously, I'm sure you can tell by the cover, it is suspenseful, there's a mystery. And especially with the title and also with the majority of the book, you do think it is one thing. Clues in the title. However, and I don't want to say too much because it is a pretty big twist and a spoiler, so I'm not going to say what it is, but the twist and the spoiler made it changed what I thought it was. So it changed it, made it so for the majority of the book, I thought this book was one thing, but it turned out to be another, and that was amazing actually. I really enjoyed it. So if the title puts you off, I would say don't let it put you off, because I think you might still enjoy it, because it's more than what it says. However, from what I remember, there are topics that if you're very sensitive, you might not want to read about, because it does involve things like disappearing children, or children just randomly appearing and you don't know where they've come from, stuff like that, and like missing kids. So if you are sensitive to stuff like that, you probably won't like it, but otherwise I would recommend it, because I don't remember being any content. It wasn't overly scary. It wasn't really scary at all from what I remember. It was more just suspenseful. So I definitely recommend it, unless you're really sensitive, basically. It's actually one I wanted to reread at one point. I don't know if I still do though. It's usually like an itch. It comes and goes. Let's have a drink actually. I'm a bit thirsty. Question 4 is Colonel Brandon. And I assume he's still part of Sense and Sensibility. And this question is a book or a book series that you will always love and defend. And I think the defend bit is a bit strong, because I'm very much of not everyone will like the books I like. So in terms of defend, I'm not really good at that. It's not really something I'm into. I don't care enough in terms of that, because everyone has their own opinions and you're entitled to them. You know, what I'll like, you might not. What you like, I might not. All the rest of it. So, whilst I have picked something, I wouldn't necessarily say I would go so far as defend it, because it makes it feel like I'm a die-hard fan type of thing. And I'm not saying that you can't be, or that I wouldn't be, or anything like that. It's just, I think it's a very strong word, for me, personally. But there is a book I love. I can't even remember the question. Oh yeah, book series I will always love. And there's a few. An honourable mention is the Murder Most Unladylike series for kids, which is a murder mystery. I don't know whether it counts as cozy because it is for kids. So, but either way, it does have the cozy vibes. But again, especially with that one, I wouldn't necessarily defend it, because if you don't like it, you won't. There's no point defending it. And also, there has been a couple of instances of LGBT characters, or the possibility of there being one. And whilst it was only touched on, there was nothing described, obviously, because it's for kids. If you're not comfortable with that, you're not going to want to read that or give that to your kids or whatever. So I'm not going to defend it to you if that's not what you want in a children's book. So, it's just difficult for me to describe and difficult for me to articulate. I just feel it's a bit strong, defend. But I think, and if any of you have watched any of my recent videos, you won't be surprised about what I'm going to say. But a book that I think I will always love is Trust of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And as I'm saying this, there's also another one which is a series, and I'm sure now that I've said that you'll probably know what I'm going to say. But yeah, Brandon Sanderson, my first one, 6-star read, and it's definitely one I really love. I might read his other books because it's my first and only one, but I don't know, because whilst I love fantasy, most fantasies are bigger than this. So yeah, but I'll never say never. But this is definitely a book that I will always love and recommend. I think a lot of people who like fantasy or adventure will love this book. If you love Princess Bride, you'll probably like this book as well. It's just really good. Love it. However, an honourable mention that I probably should have thought of but didn't. I've not read this book, but I'm going to use it to stand in for the whole series. And that is the Anne of Green Gables series by Ellen Montgomery. This one is Rainbow Valley. This is the one I'm supposed to read in October, even though I've not read September's. So I've got 2 to read. But yes, this series is definitely one I will always love. So yeah, all of you regulars wouldn't be surprised by that answer, would you? Okay, so question 5, we're on Emma, and the hero is Mr. Knightley, and the question is, a book that convicted you or made you a better person? And the one that came to my head, and I will stick with because it's true, and that is Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. Obviously the Bible is the main one for that, but in terms of a fictional book, Pilgrim's Progress, absolutely amazing book. It definitely convicted me. It's definitely one of those books that will make you a better person, or continue you on towards becoming a better person, at least anyway. And definitely does for me. It's definitely really good and eye-opening, and a fantastic reminder to not get complacent in your faith as a Christian, because that's so easy to do. And there's nothing, I'm not saying that you're wrong if that is the case, but obviously you always want to be, following God's lead, following the Holy Spirit, trying to be as much of a better person as you can, because there is no good people in the world. God is the only good person. I mean, he's not a person like me, but I mean, that's a whole complicated issue that I can't even get into because I'm not knowledgeable enough. But God is bigger than us, and he's perfectly good, unlike the rest of us, and obviously not including Jesus, of course, who is also perfectly good. Yeah, I really recommend Pilgrim's Progress for that. It's just really good for, as an addition to the Bible. I think it's definitely one to reread, because I think it's really good to remind you and just also help you feel like you're not alone as well, because I think we all have, all of the characters that are in Pilgrim's Progress are all parts of, I think, of us. So, maybe when we weren't as strong in our faith as before, as we are now, or when we have a weak moment and we sin or make a mistake, so like it's just a beautiful book. The writing's beautiful. It's not too hard to understand, even though it was written in the 1600s, so it does have the whole these and thous and all of that, but I didn't find it difficult to understand. It was still very clear. I don't know if there's other versions of Pilgrim's Progress where it changes the these and thous into our modern day you and me, or whatever those words stood for, because I forgot. But yeah, I still found it really easy to understand. I knew what was going on. It doesn't mean it was simple to read though, but in terms of the actual language used, most of it I think was easy to understand from what I can remember. So yeah, Pilgrim's Progress, definitely. Question 6 is Northanger Abbey, and the character is Mr. Tilney. And this is a book with playful or witty dialogue. And honestly, there could be quite a lot, and I think classics in general will be a big part of a witty and playful writing. Not necessarily, but there certainly can be. Certainly witty anyway, maybe not playful, I don't know. I also not quite sure what you mean by playful, but the book that came into my head was Jane Eyre by, oh no, which Bronte is it? I think it's Charlotte Bronte, I forget. I think it's Charlotte Bronte, but I'll put a picture up anyway, because I don't have it physically right now. It's somewhere. It reminded me that there definitely is still a box of books that I've not unpacked from when we moved, which I suspected was the case. But anyway, that's different. Jane Eyre, because I definitely found the dialogue between Jane and Edward Rochester was definitely witty in that way, and in that way you could see it be playful, maybe. I'm not sure. And I don't necessarily mean in like how you feel about when you're reading it, just in, you know, the way witty dialogue is playful, really, I think is the other way I can describe it. I hope I'm describing that right, because I probably am not. But hopefully you know what I mean. Either way, it's definitely witty, definitely thought-provoking, definitely something that if you're not in the right headspace, you might find it difficult to kind of grasp or understand, or at least I did anyway. So I'd definitely say Jane Eyre. There's probably other books as well that I've read as well, you know, not just in general. But yeah, I would definitely, Jane Eyre is definitely the one I've thought of first. So I'll use that one. Okay, chapter 7, no, not chapter 7, question 7 is Persuasion, and the character is Captain Wentworth, and the question is a book that you loved years ago that you would like to reread. Now, I feel like I say this all the time, I'm not a massive rereader, but there is a contender for if I was to reread a book or even a book series that I loved years ago. I think this is it. Now, like I said with Anne of Green Gables, this book isn't the one I'm going to talk about, but it's the nearest one. So I'm going to use it to kind of signify the whole series. And that is The School for Good and Evil by Soman Chinani. Apologies for the butchering of his, I think, last name. I think it's a guy, I think it's a man who writes these, I can't remember. But this is the first book, School for Good and Evil. I've read the whole of the original series. I've still got 2 prequels that have come out in recent years that are based on the 2 brothers who created the school. Yeah, this is the last book of the original main series. And I loved this series, and so I would say this is definitely a contender to reread, because I haven't always been a Christian, so when I started reading these I wasn't a Christian, so I would like to maybe try the series and see what I think now. So yeah, because that would be interesting. But for those of you who don't know, this is based on like fairy tale, well, like the next generation of famous fairy tales or myths and legends characters. So like you've got one of the main characters is the son of King Arthur. We've got there's like characters who are descendants from like, I don't know, famous fairy tale characters from like maybe Red Riding Hood, but I'm not sure, but certainly like, you know, the Evil Queen and Snow White, sorry, you know, Cinderella characters, stuff like that. So yeah, but obviously because of that there are things like witches and covens, but there is very much a good versus evil type thing, so it's a very interesting book to read as a Christian. So it's definitely a contender for that. Whether I will ever reread the first book or the whole series, I don't know. I might do. Again, never say never. but I'm not sure. The last question, question 8, is for Mansfield Park, and the character is Mr. Bertram. And the question is, a book you almost DNF'd but stuck through it, and it ended up redeeming itself in the end. And I'm going to have to tell you, I've not really had books that done that. I've had slow books, but none of those books were books where I was considering DNFing and then decided against it. There have been books I have DNF'd, but I've stuck with it. I've stuck with the DNF, like I've not changed my mind or anything like that. So I don't actually have, in my memory anyway, I don't think I have any books for that one. So yeah, I've not really had one. Yeah, the nearest that I could possibly do is the Wartime Book Club by Kate Thompson, but that wasn't really DNF, that's more of a not right now sort of thing. So I don't know if I'll actually DNF it. I also don't know if I didn't want to necessarily DNF it, because when I was in the book I was enjoying it, but I also had lots of other books on my TBR that I also wanted to read more than the Wartime Book Club. So I just, put it down for now and read some of my other books. So I wouldn't really count that really as like an almost DNF, but stuck with it, because I also haven't stuck with it, if you know what I mean, yet. So yeah, I can't really count that, but that's the nearest one I can give you for that one. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, that is the tag done. So that is all the questions and all of my answers. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know if anyone wants to do this tag. If you do, please consider yourself tagged. I won't tag anyone, but obviously I will tag the creators. And I think I'll tag the original creators of the Jane Austen Heroes tag as well. Just because this is based on Anne's Jane Austen tag. So I think I'll do that as well. So do check out all 4 of these ladies if you're not already. 3 of them I know and would definitely recommend. I don't know Hayley from Humbly Hayley, but I'm sure she's lovely. So I'm sure she'll be a great recommendation. But yes, other than that, I don't actually have anything else to say. I was going to do my wrap up for September. Well, yeah, for September. But then I was like, well, today's the last day of September. And whilst I'm not going to finish like all of the books that I'm currently reading, because I know that ain't happening, but I do want to kind of finish the day off first, so then I know for definite what I have read and finished and what I haven't. So I don't know if I will upload this one first or whether I'll upload this after my wrap up. Because what I could do is film my wrap up on like Thursday, today's Tuesday, which is the last day of September. So what I could do is film on Thursday and upload the wrap up. I definitely could. But we'll see. Either way, this video will be coming up in October sometime. That's all I can really say to that. And it will either be this Saturday coming for me, so I don't know what date that is. The 5th? 6th? I don't know. Either way, the first Saturday of October. Either you'll be seeing me like this, doing the Jane Austen Heroes tag, or you'll be seeing me doing my September wrap up. We will see. So either way, thank you for watching. Consider yourself tagged if you would like to do this tag. And yes, let's try that again. So, if you would like to do this tag and film yourself doing it, consider yourself tagged. If you want to do this tag but you don't want to film a video, please answer in the comments. You can do one or all of the questions or a couple, however many you want. Answer them in the comments and I will have a look. I would love to see your answers. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And hit the bell notification, because I'm usually regular. I'm usually every week on a Saturday. At least for me, on a Saturday, depending on where you are. It might not be a Saturday when it's uploaded. But yes, I'm usually pretty regular so far, God willing, barring any circumstances. So yes, thank you. I love you all. God bless, and I will see you all next week. Bye. I don't often say it, but I thought, why not say it today? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. If you don't want to actually film doing the task, but you want to answer one or two or all of the questions, please do. I would love to read them in the comments. Otherwise, film your own video if you would like to do that. And yeah, so I'm very messy with my thinking, aren't I? I'm going backwards and forwards here. Either way, you can reply if you like. Not reply. What am I trying to say here? I don't know. Okay. We just need a cup of coffee. Hang on. We just need a drink of